Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Before we get into today's video, please do me a small favour. Make sure to drop a like on this episode. Let's try and see 500 likes today. And be sure to subscribe as well. Bottom right hand corner is completely free content, so make sure you get involved. My topic and question for you this morning is about the striker position at Manchester United. We're going to be talking about Victor Osimhen. We're going to be talking about Victor Gyökeres. And I want to know your thoughts. Who should Manchester United sign as the new striker this summer? We will be signing a striker. 99% of the mainstream media, the Fabrizios, the David Ornsteins, those types, have all said that we are going to be signing a striker this summer. And I want to know who that player should be. So get in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts below. And let's start off the show there. So we're going to start off with Osimhen then. Fabrizio Romano was talking last night about Victor Osimhen, saying that apparently he's available this summer for, it's in euros, but I've converted it, £62 million is his release clause. I think it's 70 million euros. Apparently Manchester United have sent scouts to watch him play for Galatasaray in the last couple of weeks, and he is meant to be one of our top targets. Now, the thing that I don't really understand about this story, right? I like Osimhen. I think he's a quality player. I think he would massively improve our team. He's levels above Højlund, and yeah, I think he'd be a good signing. But a couple of weeks ago, we were told that Manchester United weren't going to go for Gyökeres because they thought he was too old. Do you remember that? Well, Gyökeres and Osimhen are the same age. They're both 26. One was born in June, one was born in December. So there's 7 months different between the two of them. Why is Gyökeres too old at the age of 26, but Osimhen not too old at the age of 26? That's what I don't really understand. And it makes me just think that maybe Manchester United have already held talks with Gyökeres about a summer move, and maybe he just doesn't want to come to Manchester United. I think that's the more likely option here because, we're not going to be in the Champions League, and he wants to play for a club who are going to be in the Champions League, doesn't he? Clearly. Whereas, no disrespect to Galatasaray, they're in the Europa League. They're on the same level as Manchester United. I know they're a big team in the Turkish league, but still, going from Galatasaray playing in the Europa League to Manchester United playing in the Europa League it's a step up, isn't it? Whereas I think Gyökeres is going to want to go to a big club, isn't he? His career has been quite strange. He started, I think, at Brighton, didn't work, went to Coventry, did well at Coventry in the Championship, and then got a move to Sporting Lisbon in the Portuguese league. Whereas Osimhen has been around a lot longer, it seems. Do you know what I mean? He's been at the top of the game for a lot longer. He's played for bigger teams. He obviously played in the Bundesliga for Wolfsburg. Then he went to Lille. Then he went to Napoli. Like, he's already done these kind of types of clubs, whereas Victor Gyökeres hasn't really. But the big thing with Osimhen is his contract situation. And I think that's why Manchester United have been alerted to his availability. His deal expires in June 2026. So they are 100% going to sell him this summer, Napoli, because he's not going to stay at Napoli. That's clear. And Manchester United obviously need a striker. Now, for me personally, if I had to pick between the two players, it's a difficult one. I mean, stats-wise, they're relatively similar by way of, their output, their goals, their assists. I think Osimhen would be an easier deal to do because of obviously this release clause and because of the fact that I think he would want to come to Manchester United. Whereas I think with Gyökeres, it's going to be pretty hard to convince him when you've probably got, I don't want to say bigger teams, but bigger teams in relation to their footballing output at the moment who are going to be wanting him. And again, I go back to the story from The Athletic a week or so ago saying that Manchester United weren't going to get Gyökeres because they thought he was too old. And for me at that time, I did just feel like it was, an excuse that they were putting out there early that they didn't want him. When really, I think it was Gyökeres didn't want to come to United, knowing that we're sat 15th in the table, probably not going to be in Europe next season. And he's, got this opportunity now after playing for Coventry for most of his career in the Championship. He's now got an opportunity to go to a big club and win stuff. I know he's won stuff at Sporting, but he's probably got his eyes set on winning Champions Leagues, stuff like that. And he's not going to do that at Manchester United, realistically. Whatever you think, Manchester United aren't going to be winning the Champions League anytime soon. Like, you look at his career, he was at Brighton, he was at St. Pauli in the French League, he was at Swansea, He was at Coventry. Like, he hasn't really played for a big club yet. I know Sporting Lisbon are a big club in Portugal, but they're still not very big, really, are they? So I think for me personally, it's a really difficult one. I want you to let me know your thoughts, though. Who would you go for? I mean, the three players we've really been linked to are Liam Delap from Ipswich, Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon, and Osimhen from Napoli. Those are the three main players we're linked to. Osimhen and Gyökeres are going to cost you about 60 million. Liam Delap, I think, is going to cost probably about 40 million. Manchester City have a buyback clause for Liam Delap, and I can't imagine Ipswich will sell him for any less than the buyback clause, realistically. The buyback clause is 45 million euros for Liam Delap, which is, 40 million pounds. So those are the kind of three options that we have. Obviously, there's some other kind of plan B options, like Jonathan David on a free. I don't think that will personally happen. There are some people this morning suggesting that Manchester United are looking at Fenerbahce's Youssef En-Nesyri. I mean, that would not excite me at all. Like that for me would be like a massive step backwards. I don't know how you feel about that one, Youssef En-Nesyri. I mean, to be fair, he has done well this season in the Turkish league, but he to me is just screaming a cheap signing. I would take him and an Osimhen, or him and a Gyökeres, or him and a Liam Delap. But if our only striker signing was Youssef En-Nesyri, I think that would be pretty underwhelming. Although I do like him, he is a decent player. He did well in the La Liga last season. He got 16 goals and 2 assists in 33 games, which is not bad, is it? He said a goal or an assist every other game. And this season, he's got 15 goals and 4 assists in 22 games in the Turkish league. So he is a decent player, but again, I don't think he's good enough. I say good enough. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I was about to say I don't think he's good enough for Manchester United. I would take him over Højlund any day of the week. So he is good enough for Manchester United. I mean, it's mad, isn't it? How low we've fallen. That at the beginning of this section of the show, I'm saying that I don't think Youssef En-Nesyri is good enough for Manchester United. And then I actually properly think about it, and I would take him over Højlund, and I would take him over Xerxes. But if we're aspiring to be a top 4 side again, then he's not good enough. That's the point I was making. He's good enough for a 15th place side in the Premier League. You know, you could see him going to a West Ham or to a Leicester or to an Everton, a team in the bottom half of the table. He would be perfect for, and he'd probably get you some goals. But a team who want to be in the top 4, challenging for Europe, etc., I don't think he's of that level. Maybe Europa League level, but not Champions League level. But yeah, I'd be really interested to see what you guys think. Who should Manchester United go for in this window? Well, the window's coming around quite soon now. People in the chat are saying, why are we assuming we're going to play in the Europa League? I don't think anybody's assuming we're going to play in the Europa League yet. Yeah, I don't really get that. Al says Man City spent 200 million on players and it was nothing to them. We hyped up Dorgu. Yeah, but the thing is, right, Man City didn't really spend that much in the summer, did they? And they sold some... Man City seem to be amazing at selling players that you've never heard of for like 20, 30 million. And that's how they've spent so much money. I was watching a video yesterday and it said that apparently Man City sold, in the last 10 years, have sold £400 million worth of youth players. And probably most of them you'll have never heard of and never will hear of. It's bizarre. But yeah, let me know. Who would you go for? Osimhen or Gyökeres? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And let's move on from that, though, and let's jump on over to this story about the players turning on the manager. Where is this quote? Let me get it up for you. This type of stuff just annoys me, though, innit? That the players, the same players, are still leaking stuff from the dressing room. So this story came out from... So it's coming out from Chris Wheeler in the Daily Mail this morning, saying that Manchester United players are beginning to lose faith in Ruben Amorim's system as results and performances continue to suffer. It says the affected group believe that even when United win, it is largely down to individual performance of quality or good fortune rather than actual tactical triumph. So we're, what, 3 months into Ruben Amorim's era, and the players are already turning on him. And I wrote this on Twitter. This was my reaction. I said, it's easier to lose faith in the manager. This is from the players' perspective, by the way. So it's easier for the players to lose faith in the manager than it is for the players to take a long, hard look in the mirror and accept that they aren't good enough. Maybe Ruben should change his tactics, but let's not kid ourselves. We were 13th in the table playing a back four when Ten Hag was here anyway. What difference would it make? Anybody disagree with that? You know, you see this mainstream media, the Sky Sports, the Jamie Carragers, the nobodies on Sky Sports News every day saying, oh, I don't like his formation. I don't think it works. I think if he changed his formation, they would be a lot better. I mean, that doesn't make any sense because when he took over, we were playing the formation that they're all saying we should play, and we were still rubbish. And our manager got sacked because of it. So I don't think that's the case. I think the case is that I saw another stat yesterday that said that we've created the second most chances out of any team in the Premier League this season. And we've also missed the most clear-cut chances out of any team in the Premier League. So our issue isn't the formation. It isn't because we're playing a back three. It's because every single game, we have 2 or 3 chances where 99 times out of 100, a player will score and we miss every time. Garnacho did it on the weekend. I mean, that was like he skied it from about 5 yards out. And that happens every single game. We'll have 1 or 2 minimum clear-cut chances that every other team in the league will be scoring, and we don't. And that's why we are where we are on the table. Are we playing good football? Not really, but we are creating chances. Were we playing good football under Erik ten Hag? Not really, but we created the most XG. This still baffles me, right? Before we sacked Erik ten Hag, we had the highest XG out of any team in the Premier League. That included Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. We were creating the most chances, but we just weren't scoring them. And XG is like you're 5 yards out from the goal and you should be scoring. It's not, having a shot from the halfway line. Do you remember Dalot missed an open goal against West Ham? There were so many examples of this where our players had the most easy chance ever and they still don't manage to score. So I don't think changing the formation is the issue. I think it's getting better attacking players. It's getting a proper striker who can finish chances. People seem to be still going on about, Højlund doesn't get chances. The amount of times the ball was put in the box on the weekend against Tottenham and Højlund was nowhere to be seen. The amount of times that Højlund is resting players on the halfway line opposed to actually doing his job as an attacker. Honestly, if you count the amount of times that happens in a game, it's mad. So I don't think it's the formation. I think it is literally just on the attacking players who don't seem to be able to score. Because we don't concede that many chances anymore and we don't concede that many goals. We just don't score. And I don't really see what Ruben Amorim can do to change that other than get rid of the players and bring in new ones. Like, there isn't really any other option, is there? You could argue that they should have prioritised an attacker in January, and I would agree with that. But for whatever reason, Ineos didn't want to spend the money. And they went for Patrick Dorgu, which I think Patrick Dorgu's been good so far, but he's not going to score us any goals, is he? So, as great of a signing he might end up being, he's not going to solve the issue in the short term. So I'm just frustrated with this whole narrative. Again, dressing room leaks. Again, players losing faith in the manager after 2 months. It's just a mess, isn't it? But yeah, maybe it's fake. Maybe it's not. Who knows? What else have we got in the chat this morning? Alan says, we must not forget that Amorim didn't want to come to United until the summer. He knew the players were rubbish. Yeah, we can't let that slip. He said that in his first press conference. He said that in his final press conference at Sporting Lisbon. I can't remember who I was listening to. I think it was Talk Sport. And Simon Jordan was saying, yes, Man United fans say that he didn't want to come until the summer, but we're not sure if that's true. And I'm thinking, like, Ruben Amorim literally said in his own words that he didn't want to come till the summer in multiple press conferences. But the media are already trying to spin this narrative that he didn't say that. It's weird. It's really weird. But yeah, he didn't want to come till the summer and we effectively forced him. So we can only really blame ourselves. Well, not me or you, but like Ineos, innit? So I can see somebody else say, this was another thing I saw yesterday as well, actually, which kind of blew my mind a little bit. And it was about Erik ten Hag. And I know people are sick of talking about Erik ten Hag, but it was about Erik ten Hag and it was about people saying that he's the reason we are where we are and it's his fault. And they were all his signings and all of this other rubbish, right? I saw somebody talking about this yesterday, and I actually really, really agree. So we had this story come out yesterday from Benny McCarthy, who was one of the coaches at Manchester United. You ready for this? This is one of the people who was working at Manchester United, part of Erik ten Hag's team. So Benny McCarthy, this is a direct quote. He says, "Harry Kane for me was the complete package, but unfortunately the club didn't see it that way. They looked at it as Højlund in the long run would be a better asset than investing in Harry Kane. So we stopped pursuing Kane and went for Højlund instead." So this is Benny McCarthy, who was at the club when we signed Rasmus Højlund, saying that Manchester United didn't allow Erik ten Hag to get Harry Kane, and that Erik ten Hag wanted Harry Kane and they went for Højlund instead, right? And then I saw somebody talking about this, and when you look at the players that we've actually signed and people say, oh, he's his signing. Ten Hag wanted Kane, he got Højlund. Ten Hag wanted De Jong, he got Casemiro. Ten Hag wanted Gakpo, he got nobody that window. Do you remember in the January? He wanted Cody Gakpo and he didn't get him. Ten Hag wanted... I think I worked out that the only players that Ten Hag actually got who were his first choice signings was Onana, Antony, Martinez, and I think that was probably it. All of the other deals, Eriksen was a free, a cheap free. Who else did we sign? And just to be clear, right? So the team that we've assembled here is not Erik ten Hag's team. It's John Murtough and Richard Arnold's team. They were the ones who messed up all of these deals and didn't get the first choice signings. So, it's easy to point blame at managers because they're the face, aren't they? When was the last time you saw any of the people who work behind the scenes at Manchester United do an interview? It should be Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada doing these interviews, explaining why they're sacking all these staff. But instead, it's Ruben Amorim who's having to do it. And yes, Erik ten Hag made a lot of mistakes. Yes, maybe he should have been sacked, but he's the one who's taking the fall for this. When really, when you actually look at it, the people who have got us in this recent history with this poor team of players that don't fit what we want and players that weren't the number one target is John Murtough and Richard Arnold. And that's clear, and that's a fact. So, yeah, it's just frustrating. We just have to hope that... something different happens. Somebody in the chat saying, you are making excuses for Ten Hag. Why didn't he exercise his veto if he didn't want them? Put it this way, right? It gets to transfer deadline day. You've missed out on De Jong and you didn't get an attacking player. And then on transfer deadline day, they say to you, you can get Casemiro and Antony. I mean, would you rather have something than nothing? That's a stupid thing to say. All of these deals that we ended up doing, he would have been told that you're either having him or you're not having anything. So the point is, he's not been given what he wanted and was forced to have something else. But yeah. Lightning says he wanted Timber over Martinez. Yeah, I forgot about that actually. We tried to sign Timber first, didn't we? He wanted Kim Min-jae and we got De Ligt. Yeah, again, that's another example. And this isn't me saying that Erik ten Hag was an amazing manager. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that we are where we are with this squad, and we've assembled this poor squad because we didn't get the players we actually wanted. Remember, Kim Min-jae had a release clause and we still didn't get him. We were linked to him for like 3 months and we didn't get him. But anyway, I'm going to leave the video here, guys. It was just a quick one this morning, so I'm not going to go on too long. But thank you very much for watching today. Please be sure to drop a like before you leave. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. This has been Daily Red Devil. I will be back live tomorrow morning as normal. Have a great day, everybody. Speak to you all later.